Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into a story that's really had the internet buzzing.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
The whole unfolding thing between Kevin Gates and Brittany Renner.
Right. Yes. That's definitely been something to watch.
Exactly. So we've gathered, some sources, a pretty detailed timeline, Brittany's own posts about her spiritual journey, and just the general online reaction, which has been huge.
And the idea here isn't just to, list the headlines, right? We want to dig into the key moments, try to understand how their dynamics shifted.
Yeah, and unpack the different ways people are seeing this.
Of
Because
course.
it is, kind of unexpected.
For sure.
I mean, think about it. Kevin Gates, super outspoken rapper, practicing Muslim, was very publicly married to Drecka Gates.
Right. And Drecka was a big part of his career, too.
Definitely. And then Brittany Renner, known for being really open online, very candid about her life. And then, bam, August 2024, she announces she's converted to Islam.
Yeah.
Quite a path.
It really is. And the internet, well, it reacted exactly how you'd expect. Surprise. A lot of talk, some pretty strong opinions flying around. Our sources give us some interesting angles to look at.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit, back to 2022. It seems like maybe the first little spark, or at least what people point to now, was a backstage interview at Rolling Loud Miami.
Yeah, that interview. It's funny how something can seem pretty normal at the time, but then you look back.
Right, with hindsight.
Exactly. The timeline we looked at mentions Renner saying she was a fan, but also points out there was, some chemistry. You could kind of see it.
Yeah, people rewatching it definitely picked up on that. Said she seems maybe a little flustered, really focused on him. And Gates, well, being Gates, he apparently asked her straight up, did you like what you saw?
Huh. Yeah, very direct.
Mm-hmm.
And her response, something like, I actually loved it. I actually love what I'm seeing now. It definitely feels like more than just, oh, hey, big fan.
For sure. It might have flown under the radar then, but now everyone's like, okay, that's where it started.
A potential early sign, yeah.
And then, just a few months later, September 2022, they actually worked together.
Oh, the music video. Right.
Yeah, Renner starred in his video for Bad For Me. And the timeline we have really highlights how sensual the video was. That on-screen chemistry again.
So, building on that Rolling Loud moment, this collaboration, it kind of amplified things maybe. More than just a chance meeting.
Could be. The video itself, their interactions in it,
Yeah.
it felt like maybe something more was developing.
Although you could also see how, at the time, people might have just thought, okay, rapper, model in a video, standard stuff.
True. Easy to dismiss.
Yeah.
It's only looking back now that it seems like another piece fitting into place. But then later in 2022, things got, way less subtle on social media.
Ah, yes. The Instagram exchange, that was direct.
Super direct. Renner posts something pretty explicit about wanting to be held and penetrated passionately.
And Gates just jumps right in with when.
Exactly. And then followed up with more, including that hashtag.
The hashtag Doc Allen Your Stomach one.
Yeah. Which is, quite a contrast to where things seem to be now, with the focus on faith and all that.
It really is stark, isn't it? It's almost like two different phases. But the timeline suggests even that really bold interaction was, another step showing how comfortable or maybe just how direct they were with each other early on.
Okay, so fast forward a bit. A really significant moment happens. August 2024. Renner publicly converts to Islam.
Yes. And her posts about it give us some insight. She talked about ending her need for validation, specifically male attention. That was a big reason she stated.
Right. She mentioned how her original reasons for even being on Instagram back in 2012 just didn't apply anymore. So the conversion was tied into redefining her whole relationship with social media too.
It's interesting.
And she also brought up her sobriety, 6-month alcohol-free then, and abstinence, 8 months without sex, according to the timeline. That's a major life change.
Huge. And what stood out to me was her addressing the potential doubters head on, saying, God chooses who gets mercy, basically defending the sincerity of her choice.
Yeah, she seemed ready for the questions. She also talked about past struggles and searching for guidance before finding Islam.
Which paints it less as a sudden whim and more as, the end point of a longer personal journey, perhaps.
Definitely adds context. Okay, so after the conversion, moving into early 2025, like January through April, That's when the relationship itself starts becoming more visible.
Right, the timeline points to her popping up on DDG's live stream with Gates in March. That seemed to be a real catalyst.
That got the rumor mill going, big time.
For sure. And then that video of Gates calling her his wife?
Oh man, that went everywhere.
Instantly viral. Suddenly it wasn't just whispers, it was much more out in the open.
And then we started seeing what the timeline calls the soft launch. You know, the type.
Holding hands in a blurry photo.
A dinner pic here and there.
Exactly. Kind of easing the public into the idea, testing the waters.
And Gates was apparently pretty active defending her in comments sections too.
Which signals, a level of commitment. And Renner herself put out statements about minding her business but also standing by him.
Like a united front.
Facing the public scrutiny together.
Which brings us neatly to that scrutiny. The public reaction. Predictable, maybe? Very divided.
Absolutely. As the timeline notes, you had one camp really supporting them, maybe seeing it as like an authentic, unapologetic kind of pairing.
Yeah, like they're just being real.
But then the other side was highly critical, bringing up Gates still being technically married, Renner's past, all of that.
Loads of judgment there. And speculation too, right? Like, is this serious or is it just, for attention, for the culture?
That cynicism often pops up with celebrity couples, doesn't it? And Renner's conversion became part of that debate too. Was it genuine? Was it related to Gates?
So many questions, so many opinions. It really touched a nerve, seems like.
It highlights that difficulty, doesn't it? When public figures go through these huge personal shifts, relationships, faith at all happens under this intense microscope.
Definitely. Now, we got to talk properly about the Kevin Gates and Drecka Gates situation. Because that looms large here. Married in 2015, but together for what, over 10 years before that?
Yeah, a long time. And their image was very much this strong spiritual partnership. Drecka was deeply involved in his career, his management.
Seen as a real power couple in many ways. But then, around 2022, those separation rumors started bubbling up.
Right, and Gates's own freestyle, Super General, really poured fuel on that fire. The lyrics, they hinted pretty strongly at infidelity and distance.
Yeah, they were pretty revealing. But the thing is, there's never been like an official divorce announcement or confirmation of a split.
Exactly. They just stopped appearing together as much. That ambiguity, that lack of a clear status, it just adds another layer of complexity and maybe controversy to his current relationship with Renner.
No doubt. It leaves so much room for people to assume and judge.
It's a key piece of the puzzle.
And speaking of judgment, there was also criticism from someone else, a woman named Persia, claiming she was involved with Gates.
Ah, yes. The timeline included her perspective, too. Her accusations added another, quite negative dimension. She claimed Renner was pursuing Gates while Persia thought she was with him.
So messy.
Potentially very messy. Persia also alleged Gates had said some pretty unflattering things about Renner, calling her washed and that she had lost her glow, painting him as maybe manipulative.
Oh, okay.
And Persia also claimed that Gates and Drecka were separated at the time, which contradicts the lack of official word but adds to her narrative.
Aye, and she didn't hold back on Renner's conversion either, did she?
No, called it a trend and a mockery. Pretty harsh. She also apparently brought up past things Renner had said about not wanting a man involved with multiple women.
Which, yeah, people definitely jumped on that perceived irony.
It's common, isn't it? Past statements get dredged up to question current actions. And it seems Renner responded to the general criticism about her conversion, but maybe didn't directly address Persia's specific claims.
Choosing her battles, maybe.
Perhaps managing the narrative.
So, okay, let's try and pull this together. We started with a flirty interview back in 22.
Yeah, the Rolling Loud one.
Then the music video collab, those very public Instagram DMs.
Can't forget those.
Followed by Renner's really significant conversion to Islam.
A major turning point.
Then the relationship becoming public early this year, the wife comment, the soft launch.
And the explosion of online debate.
Exactly. Support, criticism, questions about Drecka, accusations from Persia. It's been quite the saga. And it feels like it's still unfolding.
It really does. And you can see why it captured so much attention. It's unexpected, involves well-known figures, and touches on themes of love, faith, controversy, pasts, all of it.
That contrast you mentioned earlier between the explicit exchanges and the later focus on faith is really striking too.
Definitely. It adds layers that make it hard to pin down.
And clearly people are interpreting it all in vastly different ways. You can see it as genuine, strategic, complicated. There's no single easy answer here.
Not at all. Which I think leads to a final thought, maybe.
Go for it.
When you see public figures navigating these really personal journeys, relationships changing, spiritual paths evolving, all under this intense, constant scrutiny, it makes you think, doesn't it? What does this whole situation, this whole deep dive, really tell us about the pressures of fame today and just the messy, complicated nature of human connection itself?